On a crisp afternoon at Balmoral, Queen Elizabeth fixed Diana with a steady, unyielding gaze. "Camilla is here to stay," she said softly, her voice a quiet decree allowing no argument. The weight of those words settled between them, fragile yet irrevocable. That summer at Balmoral, the air held a rare stillness as Diana and the Queen walked alone along a shaded path. The Queen spoke in a measured tone, her words deliberate yet calm. "Camilla will not disappear," she said softly, eyes fixed ahead, welcoming no dispute. Diana felt a surge of conflicting emotions: hurt, disbelief, and the faintest glimmer of resignation. The Queen's message was clear: be practical and accept the reality before her. It was not a plea but a command wrapped in quiet strength. The beauty of the royal grounds contrasted sharply with the tension between them. Diana's heart grew heavy, realizing this moment was more than a conversation. It was a turning point. It was a subtle reminder that some truths, no matter how painful, demand acknowledgement. The gravity of the Queen's words echoed in the stillness, underscoring Camilla's permanent place in their lives. Balmoral's charm came from its quiet escape from the public eye, a place where formality eased and the royal family could breathe. Diana stood nearby, watching William and Harry dart across the lush grass, their laughter carried by a gentle breeze. Harry, always the spirited younger brother, was delightfully coated in mud, his cheeks flushed with carefree joy. William, more thoughtful at 10, knelt beside him, earnest in his attempt to explain the consequences of such play. This simple scene, so ordinary in its innocence, gave Diana a fleeting sense of ease, a balm for the weight pressing on her heart. For a moment, the palace walls and whispered tensions felt distant, replaced by the pure, unfiltered freedom of childhood. Amid the laughter and light, Diana glimpsed a softer, more tender side of her fractured world, a brief refuge from the storm brewing inside her. A soft voice broke Diana's reverie, a staff member calling her name with quiet urgency. She glanced back at William and Harry, their carefree play etched in her memory. A final, precious moment before the inevitable. The boys' laughter hung in the air, a fragile link to innocence slipping away. With a slow, reluctant breath, Diana turned and followed the staff member down the corridor. Each step echoed the growing weight in her chest, a mix of anticipation and dread. The grandeur of Balmoral began to fade, replaced by the stark reality waiting at the hall's end. Diana's mind raced, grappling with the turmoil beneath her composed exterior. This private walk with the Queen was no ordinary meeting. It was a summons to face truths she had long avoided, a pivotal moment threatening to redefine her future. The Queen's footsteps fell with a steady, deliberate rhythm. Each step was measured and controlled, showing no haste or hesitation. Around them, the grounds of Balmoral lay quiet and indifferent. Rustling leaves and distant bird calls offered no solace or distraction. The sky, muted and vast, seemed to press down with a profound weight. Between them, the air hummed with a palpable anticipation, as if the landscape itself held its breath. Diana matched the Queen's pace, her thoughts swirling in the hush. Every beat of her heart echoed the approaching confrontation. This was no casual stroll. It was a procession toward an inevitable reckoning. The monarch's calm exterior sharply contrasted with the storm raging inside Diana. Her breath caught tight in her chest. In that serene yet charged moment, the air itself seemed to throb with the weight of impending disclosure. Each step forward was a heavy plunge into an unknown future. As they walked, the Queen's voice broke the silence, not with bluntness, but with carefully chosen words. She spoke of the trees lining the path, their leaves turning with the season. Some branches shed their leaves, while others held fast. "Some things change, and some stay the same," she said quietly, her tone steady but full of meaning. Diana's heart sank. She understood the metaphor immediately. Camilla was the branch that would never shed its leaves, the one holding fast. Those delicate words hit her like a hammer, gentle yet firm, leading to difficult news beneath. The queen's indirect manner acted as both shield and sword, softening the blow while making change inevitable. At that moment, the quiet elegance of the landscape mirrored their complex emotions. Tension wove through the poetry of the shifting season and the unspoken reality drawing closer. The queen's voice finally dropped to its firmest tone, calm but unyielding. "Camilla's position is immutable," she said, her eyes steady on Diana's. There was no malice, only the stark truth of a situation beyond repair. What is required now is stability, for the boys, for the institution. Her words cut through the silence, demanding acceptance rather than happiness. Diana's heart sank, caught between disbelief and reluctant understanding. The queen's request was clear: be practical, not joyful. Prioritize endurance over emotion. In that moment, the weight of duty pressed down with relentless force. Diana felt the sharp edge of a reality she could neither change nor escape. The royal facade stayed intact, but beneath it, a deep fracture grew, one that would shape all their lives. The question now loomed: how could she reconcile her heart with this unyielding truth? In the quiet of her private chambers, Diana's gaze rested on a bracelet around her wrist, a delicate band engraved with unfamiliar initials. It was a small, silent symbol of the growing distance between her world and the one she longed to reclaim. Phone calls ended abruptly, voices fading before any real conversation could begin. Each disconnection echoed her isolation. Beneath her composed exterior, Diana carried an emotional weight no crown could lighten. These subtle, painful moments, hidden from the public eye, revealed the depth of her struggle. Brief flickers of tenderness and hope appeared, only to be overshadowed by the harsh reality of her fractured life. In these quiet pauses, the true cost of her journey was revealed, inviting deep empathy for a woman caught between duty and heartache, silently grappling with the widening chasm in her life. One evening, as dusk's soft light filtered through the windows, 10-year-old William approached Diana with a surprising question. "Mom, what's going on with Camilla?" His voice was tentative, but it carried a sharp awareness beyond his years. He had sensed the tension hanging thick in the house, the quiet glances, the unspoken fractures in their family. Diana met his gaze, careful not to shatter his innocence, but unable to give a clear denial. "Some things are complicated, darling," she said softly, her words measured yet evasive. In that moment, the fragile line between truth and protection blurred, hinting at the deeper rifts Camilla's presence had carved into their lives. The question lingered, a silent sign of conflicts yet to come, leaving Diana to wrestle with how much to reveal. How do children like William perceive the complex tensions around them? Can innocence truly protect them, or does their quiet awareness shape their understanding in ways we often overlook? Share your thoughts below. How might these early glimpses of truth influence a child's future? In the quiet aftermath of that evening's heavy conversation, Diana made a firm decision. She would not speak ill of Charles. Despite the fractures and pain, she chose to protect his dignity, especially for their children's sake. Her commitment went beyond words. She vowed to be a steady presence in William and Harry's lives, a constant anchor through changing tides. Yet this steadfastness was tested, as whispers and challenges threatened to shake her principles. Balancing personal anguish with maternal devotion carved deep lines beneath her calm exterior. Diana's inner strength became a quiet rebellion, a refusal to let bitterness define her role as mother. In this crucible of royal expectation and heartache, her choices painted a portrait of resilience, shaped by love, sacrifice, and fierce determination to protect her son's futures, no matter the cost. Diana nodded slowly, acknowledging the Queen's point that stability was paramount. Yet her voice held a quiet urgency as she pressed on. "But, Your Majesty, what kind of man do we want William to become?" The question hung heavily between them. It was more than a simple inquiry. It was a plea. Diana suggested the future king's character would be shaped not just by tradition, but by the example set before him now. Her eyes searched the Queen's, seeking understanding, perhaps even compassion. This was a delicate challenge, wrapped in maternal concern, revealing deeper stakes beyond protocol. It wasn't just about maintaining order. It was about nurturing the soul of a future monarch. In that moment, Diana's appeal went beyond personal grievance. It became a moral reckoning, casting an uncertain light on the path ahead for the crown and those who bore its weight. For a long moment, the Queen remained silent, her gaze steady but unreadable. The quiet between them was thick, an unspoken dialogue heavier than any words. Then, with deliberate grace, she turned and began to walk away. Each step was measured and resolute. Diana watched her retreating figure, sensing the complexity beneath the composed exterior. In that silence, a fragile understanding emerged, a recognition of the burdens they each carried. Though neither spoke aloud, the unspoken tension lingered, a delicate thread tying them together even as distance grew. It was a moment suspended in time, where reflection and resignation intertwined, leaving the future uncertain but charged with quiet resolve. Later that evening, Charles's voice broke the quiet tension as he asked about Diana's walk with the Queen. She spoke softly about William's unexpected insight and how his questions cut deeper than expected. Charles listened, his expression guarded and darkening. "You're teaching them to ask questions," he said quietly, a hint of unease in his voice. "You find that threatening?" The statement lingered, a subtle challenge mixed with concern. Diana met his gaze steadily, aware that her influence on their sons was a silent battleground. This exchange, full of restrained emotion and unspoken conflict, marked another crack in their fragile relationship. The evening's conversation revealed the growing tension as past and future collided beneath their carefully maintained facade. Charles's voice lowered, thick with an edge of warning. "This insistence on open inquiry, Diana, it risks the monarchy's essential mystique," he said, eyes narrowing slightly. Diana's reply was measured but firm. "The Queen shares that feeling." The words hung heavily between them, a quiet admission of the power struggles simmering beneath the palace's polished surface. The room seemed to still around their exchange, an almost tangible tension settling like dust. This was more than a clash of perspectives. It was a battle for influence over the future king, a subtle contest of authority and control. In that weighted silence, the fragile balance of family dynamics was laid bare, each word a calculated move in a game with stakes far beyond their immediate grasp. The uneasy alliance between tradition and change teetered on the edge, its outcome uncertain yet profoundly consequential. Alone in the quiet of her room, Diana's thoughts stayed on William's surprising maturity. His questions showed a depth beyond his years, stirring pride and concern within her. She knew the truth about their fractured family couldn't be hidden forever. One day, she would have to share it with her sons. For now, she guarded their innocence carefully. Later that night, she tiptoed to their rooms and watched them sleep, William's steady breath and Harry's restless movements. In these still moments, Diana found fragile hope and quiet resilience that fueled her resolve. Despite the turmoil around them, she vowed to be their anchor, a source of strength and honesty when the time was right. It was a silent promise, whispered in the darkness. No matter the fractures, her love would remain unbroken and unwavering. As night's soft glow filled their room, William's voice broke the silence. "Mom, what happened during your walk with the Queen?" he asked. his eyes searching hers for hidden answers. Diana took a gentle breath and chose her words carefully. What matters most, William, is truth and character. Those are the foundations you must carry forward. She spoke not only as a mother, but as a guide in a complex world. William absorbed her words, quietly wrestling with the weight of unspoken truths. Harry, half asleep beside him, murmured softly, comforted by the calm between them. In this tender moment, Diana's strength shone through, a steady beacon in uncertainty, offering her son's protection and the wisdom to face whatever lies ahead with courage and grace. The next morning, by a gentle stream, William crouched patiently beside Harry. He explained with quiet care the world unfolding before them. His voice was steady, reflecting the lessons he was beginning to embody. Nearby, the Queen watched him briefly, her eyes sharp and calculating beneath a composed stillness. That subtle expression, part approval, part measured appraisal, hinted at a shifting dynamic. It showed a recognition of William's growing awareness and influence. The interplay between mother, son, and monarch was delicate. Each movement and glance carried unspoken significance. In the soft light of dawn, the landscape witnessed these quiet evolutions. The undercurrents of power and affection intertwined in ways that would ripple through the future. It was a moment full of anticipation, where small gestures revealed the start of profound change. As their eyes met across the quiet room, Diana and the Queen shared a look heavy with unspoken meaning. No words were needed. In that silent gaze, they recognized change, a mutual acknowledgement that the currents between them had shifted irrevocably. It was a fragile truce, born not from ease, but from necessity. They subtly accepted their evolving roles and the complexities entwining their lives. Beneath the surface tension lay a quiet strength, a shared understanding neither could fully express. This moment, suspended in stillness, marked the closing of one chapter and the tentative start of another. In the delicate pause between them, the future felt uncertain yet charged, an emotional resolution resonating far beyond the room's confines. In the quiet moments of unspoken understanding, there lies a profound strength, an acceptance of complexity, tension, and the delicate balance of relationships. It is here, in silent reflection, that true resilience is born. If you're intrigued by the intricate dance of family and duty in royal stories, follow along for more nuanced tales. Share your thoughts below. How do you think these delicate balances shape lives behind palace walls?